have the American dream. Their credit could be destroyed by a mortgage foreclosure and eventual bankruptcy. Their neighborhoods, full of similarly defrauded people, would disintegrate, and disintegrating neighborhoods were breeding grounds for serious crime. It was a hard case to prove because the bribes were paid in cash, and the HUD inspector, I'll call him Raymond, never put the money in a bank. Of course, Raymond denied the bribes and blamed the contractors for not doing the work. He claimed that if there was a fraud, it was the contractor's fault, because the contractor encouraged him to sign forms without seeing the completed construction. If he was guilty of anything, it was of being too nice or regrettably lazy. You could fire a lazy inspector, but you couldn't put him in jail. The inspector was very slick in his defense. In the end, only one contractor had the guts to testify for the government, and he was on the witness stand. He had some serious problems in his past, including alcoholism and divorce, and the defense attorney took him apart, destroying his credibility. The assistant U.S. attorney and I were worried. The defense attorney's withering attack on our witness's character meant we might lose the case. Our witness was now on trial, and he was unraveling. But the defense attorney, not knowing when to quit, asked, "Mr. Smith, you didn't pay any bribes, did you? You're making all of this up, aren't you, to save your own skin? You don't seem to remember much of anything, do you? You were drunk all of the time. Your wife threw you out of the house. In short, you were a mess, weren't you?" "Well, actually, now that you ask, there is this one thing," Smith began. The defense attorney, sensing danger, tried to cut him off. "Never mind, Mr. Smith. I think the jury has heard enough of your lies. We all know what your answer is going to be. No further questions, Your Honor." The prosecutor stood up. He had a hunch our witness had something important to say. "Wait a minute, Your Honor. I think we are entitled to hear Mr. Smith's answer, don't you?" The judge concurred. "Go ahead, Mr. Smith. You can finish your answer." Smith looked alarmed. "Judge, if I tell it, I gotta use some, bad language, and I don't feel right about that." He looked over at the jury. The judge smiled at Smith. "Mr. Smith, I am sure that this Los Angeles jury has probably already heard whatever words you might need to use." All eyes turned to the jury. They nodded. "Well, Your Honor, there was this one thing. Raymond always made us come to his office to pay the bribes. He insisted that it had to be in his office because it was safe there. Behind his desk, where he sat when we paid him, was this big mounted moose head. Well, when Raymond looked into the envelope to count the $100 bills, he would always laugh. He'd point up at the moose head behind his desk and say, 'If that effing moose head could talk, we'd all go to jail.'" There it was. The Moosehead Truth. The MHT. The guilty look on Raymond's face said the rest. It was all over. The jury came back inside of 30 minutes with guilty verdicts on all counts. I've always remembered that trial and the discovery of the MHT, and in every case I handled thereafter, I searched for the Moosehead Truth. In 20 years of criminal investigations, in very complex and confusing trials, some lasting months, I achieved scores of convictions and suffered only one acquittal. It was a good career, a winning career, thanks in large part to Raymond's stuffed moosehead. In this book, I hope to help the reader find the Moosehead truth about the Clintons, their friends, and their political agenda, an agenda that I conclude is at odds with the Constitution I had been sworn to uphold. Still, I know there will be some readers who will say that this book shouldn't come from me, that, in my position, I should keep quiet. Some will say that I should trust the system and rely on Congress to blow the whistle on the White House. But I believe that Congress knows even more about what went on at the White House than I did. Yet, with the exception of the efforts of a few individual congressmen, Congress's actions have been timid. Or some readers will say that I should have left the job of informing the public to the media, to investigative journalists. But in good conscience, I couldn't do that, because no one in the media was reporting the administration I saw every day.